still fantasizing about doing some large sort of figurative things, but it's just the physicality of it. I think it's like I've just done that one this morning, and because I've got some 3 of these little canvases come in packs of 3, and once I've opened them, it's a bit like Kit Kats. You can't stop eating them. So I've opened 3. And I've opened 3. I'm going to paint another one now. This guy now with this sort of arrogant, stern look, which I think is quite enticing. So yeah. So not doing what's interesting about this. I'm always drawn when I see there's 1 or 2 of Soroyas and a few of Zorns as well, where Soroya is painted this young man walking on the beach carrying a basket on his shoulder, and I'm intrigued by the scrappiness of the of the application of paint, because it's like it's an anti technique almost. It's just broken up, and you can see it's rough brush marks and all, and I love all that. So because it makes it so visceral and alive and all the rest of it, so I lean towards that as opposed to the finesse. And there was a touch of Monet about the and with the blue rather than purple. There's a touch of Monet about the colour on that, but just there's nothing other than it's just a nice image. Makes a great lots of suggestion and implication as well. The thing about doing oils is there's an excitement for me, an excitement about doing them, but also it's over too quickly, because I get to a point pretty quick where I'm happy with it, and it's brimming with life. That's what I like. So why would I try to put every, strand of straw in a hat, because it works anyway, it's that kind of thing. Suggestion application every time for me. But yes, I've done that the other one this morning. We're doing another one now, but it's probably about 2 hours or something like that. I think that was what I spent on that. But try not to rush them, but somehow it happens pretty quick. And I think I'll put some more paint. But the palette, by the way, is burnt umber. I've got it nailed down, so I can't really show you, but burnt umber, and which I use a hell of a lot of, and ultramarine, and raw sienna. Most of the black is burnt umber and ultramarine. Raw sienna, again, quite a bit of that. Nearly all gone, that one. So another reason why I don't paint an awful lot, because I seem to burn through the paint a bit too quickly, considering it's expensive stuff, despite what people might say. And what else? Alizarin crimson, although I've got quite a bit. Don't really need much of this. Quite good with flesh tones. So on this here, this is alizarin crimson crazy down here, and raw sienna, the rest of it. Most of that's all that is. And then we've got in there, we've got ultramarine and burnt umber. You can see it. You can actually see the black created with those 2 colours. Gets down here, it's a bit more blue, so it's a bit more ultramarine down there. And then it's titanium white, and that's it. So there's burnt umber, ultramarine, raw sienna, alizarin crimson, and titanium white. And that's it. I say these canvases just cheap. Free. I think they've been primed, so they feel like they've been primed. Quite nice canvases, but well, they're nice for me anyway. I'm not the right person. Somebody asked me today about when you're going to do more oil painting demos or courses and what. And this is partly what I'm doing now, but I am the last person. The trouble with the oil paint is that it's there's a lot of technique in it, and I'm the last person you want to talk to about technique. I just don't know. you know, and you'll see with when I'm doing it, I don't really know. I'm not sure I don't want to know, but other people might, you know. So I kind of steer clear of it because there is technicalities that you need with this stuff. There's the stuff that you need to know with this stuff, with the oils, and I'm not that kind of person. So so I tend to steer clear of any kind of course or demos because I don't think I'm the right person. You know, there's people like Arthur Gunn and all those sort of guys that are just stunning. You know, what they do is stunning with oils, and I'm not in that kind of arena. So it would be unfair, I think, for me to tell people. I just paint. You know, I just paint. I don't really think too much about it. I'm just the same as when I'm drawing. I don't really think too much about it. So this is the reason why I've got a limited palette, so I don't have to think. You know, I don't have to think too much. I think if you get into a complicated palette, I'm pretty sure that you're going to have to put a bit more effort into, you know, mixing the sort of flesh tones and things. And see, I don't do anything like that. I don't really mix flesh tones. It's for me, it's colours that I can see are the colours that I paint. Again, it's that, you know, painting what you see thing or drawing what you see thing. So, but that's really why I don't do any sort of courses or things, because I think it's there's technicalities that you need to know, and I don't know those technicalities. I think it's going back to when I was painting, you know, the watercolor, and someone said to me the other day they took a course in watercolor, and I said you got decent brushes and understand pigments, and that was, you know, that was it. I kind of had this in my way of thinking that is embedded in that, you know, because to paint watercolor you needed to know how to use pigments or how pigments work, and I've got that as far as the oil is concerned. You know, I'm convinced that there's a, you know, not for me but for other people, I think there is a way of doing this that has to be adhered to because of the way that the medium works. So I'm like I say, I'm reluctant to do anything because of that. But I just paint. As you can tell, I just paint. I'm not. This is burnt umber, by the way. Alizarin Crimson is going to go mad on this in a minute, and I just wanted to get things roughly in the right place, and then I'll do that. But this is drawing. Is whether it's charcoal or whether it's a brush in hand. It's just drawing. So at this point, there's no difference for me. So I'm quite at home at this point because this is what I'm. In fact, I'm more at home at this point than I am with charcoal because of the coverage. You know, because you get that. You get the marks in place pretty quick. So and plus the fact that using a big brush that it's got little or no finesse about it, it helps me to just to relax a little bit and just, you know, make the marks. It'll only make this kind of mark so tough. It's that kind of thing. You know, you haven't got the luxury of, again, it's not a. It's the reason why I don't use the thin brush, because you've got the luxury of making detailed or fine marks. I don't want to. That's the thing. I don't want to do that anyway. So as I said, it's just drawing, but with much more freedom. I don't, you know, and you can see it's quite at the end of my reach as well. And it's another thing that I quite like, because you get the marks you don't intend to make thing. Yeah. I think that's about it. But his chin might come a bit further down, but it will probably be I'm just looking again, thinking it would probably be. I'll rectify on that one. I'll put all the other cuts. Now I'm going to dive straight into. See, I this is another thing, you know, the sort of fat over lean thing. I don't really adhere to things like that. I just paint thin, and that I think that's probably because I'm an old watercolorist. I think the watercolorists tend to paint a lot thinner than an oil painter might. You know, sort of ala prima kind of thick layered kind of painting. So I that's where that comes from, and I tend to kind of work it. I suppose they call them washes in watercolor, and it's glazes in oil painting. But that's basically what it is. It's just layers of paint. I think that I'm applying. This is where the scrappy thing I said about that. I like the way that it has this uncontrolled feeling about it because of you can see the brush marks aren't finessed at all. They're just very, I said, scrappy. So and I think that's where that comes from. I'm only using raw sienna and alizarin crimson here. So there's a bit of a wipe off thing because of the fact that it's a bit thin. So I'm wiping off as much as I'm putting onto it, but not too. I'm not worried about that at the moment because this is where all the good things happen. Really, I'm going to sort of increase the darkness of the alizarin with some ultramarine because I think this bit here that's there, it's got a nice sort of purpley feel about it. I don't know how much I'm going to salvage of that, but yeah, nice. You see that creates a great purple colour that's going in there. It's a little bit redder in there. It's a temptation to put some cadmium into that, you know. But I always find that, you know, as soon as this is watercolor again, but as soon as you introduce, you know, sedimentary cadmium type colors, I always feel it gets a bit muddy. It's the fear of titanium thing as well for me. I have that. I was desperately trying not to let the titanium infect the one this morning. So, which is I can't see it. I put the brush in my mouth then. Sorry, that's an old illustrated technique. The titanium. You can see that. Can you see that there? Look, that's infection there. For me, that's it's okay, and a lot of people probably don't mind that, but I hate it when titanium infects color. It was starting to do it around the nose, and you know, it just has that. It's like putting chalk over something. It loses. You see how vibrant that is. It loses that vibrance. So as I said, I'm the last minute. It's the last minute. In fact, if I can get away with using no white, which is again is a watercolorist approach to things, you know, zero white if possible. There's times you can't help it, but if I could get away with not using it, I would. yeah. So, like I said, with the brush that's almost, offers zero control. Now these brushes are not good brushes. I'm going to use another word then, but I'll say these are not good brushes. So, which is another good thing for me because I don't clean them, so they get knackered up pretty quick, and B, because they don't behave, if that's the right word. They just make marks, and they don't make some sort of fancy. Because I see people with, rosemary and co and all that kind of thing. And there was a time when I was envious of the fact they could afford them, let alone use them. But I'm not so fussed now. I can understand why, why I prefer brushes that haven't got any kind of ability. Zero ability brushes. It could be a thing, can't it? They're not disposable, but they're not far off. They're like the decorators' brushes. That's all they are. They're not in. No artist would want to buy these and claim to use them. Oh, I always use these decorators' brushes. I think that's probably what the last thing people would want to tell you. They want to make it. Oh, it's a sophisticated thing. You need quality equipment to be able to paint as good as me. And as I said, they never tell you that they're just using some cheap brushes from down the local hardware store. So I've got the same mentality to painting as I have with charcoal. It's all about the doing and nothing about the how you're doing it. It's all about the if you can do it with a bit of burnt wood that I've made myself, then I will. It's that kind of thing. I'm not saying it's the right thing. This is what I'm saying about the not being able to sort of do demos or courses about painting, because I'm not sure that I'm well, I certainly know I'm not doing it properly, but that's a good thing for me. But I don't know. I don't think that people want to know the right way to do it. I mean, you get all this stuff about, which is nonsense, but you get all this stuff about the learn the rules, break the rules kind of thing, which is crazy. That's something that academic schools put out so that they can get you to go on their courses and pay them thousands of pounds. But it's a thing, it's a meme to that. I think that you've got to learn the rules, then you can break the rules. That's not what. No, let's just break them to start with. I'm not hanging about here. So, but I still think that people do need to know, and that's probably deep down in me, and the reason why I don't do I'm not rushing to do a course on painting in oils or anything. I mean, I'll if you see me, I don't use gouache. I'll use anything and get my hands on, but all of it really revolves around one thing, and you know what I'm going to say: drawing. Everything is about drawing. No matter whether or not you're doing this or you're doing gouache or you're doing colored pencil or whatever it might be, pastels, it's all about the drawing. And the only time it's not is when people produce a tracing of something, which they then colour in. I mean, the tracing might be their original drawing, but when it's just about the colouring in business, then you've got to know about how your oils work and kind of things you should add to them to make them flow smoother and all that sort of thing. That's when you need to know your technical stuff. So, like I say, you're talking about Andrew Tischler and Arthur Gunn and all those sort of people who know their stuff when it comes to the techniques, using the materials. And that, I think, is what most people want to know. Because at the end of the day, if I show somebody how to draw with charcoal, it's no different to painting. There is no difference. So for me, there is. I mean, there is for other people, but I'll always resort to drawing. That's it. I'll always resort to, you learn to draw, you can paint. It's as simple as that. For me, as I say, it's not for everybody, but that's what it kind of all revolves around for me. Yeah. So with this, as I said, it's like I mean, I've only used sort of 3 colours or whatever. I've got to sort out the side of your face, which is going to be, because there's a background here, so I don't want to put this. I'm going to put this in here because I can then just give it a more accurate feeling, because it's coming quite low down here into the chin, and then down like sort of down there. I can then bring the another nice thing about oils as well, by the way, is this movability of things. Nothing's there's this edge thing. I mean, I'm not a fan of edges at all, but with oils, it's so easy. It's so much easier to disregard the edges and see what I mean about the just putting the looseness of colours in. So it's so much easier to disregard the edges and almost play with the fact that you can disregard the edges, because it was a bit like that on here on this one. So the tip of a nose, right, the nose and the mouth and the chin and all the rest of it, I'm not really looking for hard edges. So it's just like this one, in the sort of proximity of edges and the proximity of things. That's what I'm doing with it. So this brush I'm going to use now is actually a proper brush. It's not a proper brush as in Rosemary Co, but it's a graduate Daler Rowney thing. Still quite big, but I'm not really at the stage where I want to use a small brush just yet. But I'm going to see if yeah, you can see it's like what I'm looking for is, I'm going to try and locate and get some paint on it. I'm going to try and locate the end of the face there. Probably going to just put some more, make that look darker in there. I'm not going to worry too much about drawing this at this point. I'm just going to, accuracy wise, I just want to get this to be, yeah, something like so the thing is that, if I was talking about this as a how-to thing, the biggest problem is, with the drawing, I'll talk about the charcoal, I'll talk about drawing the whole face, and I do that with this as well. So the biggest problem with this is that I don't think oil paint should be painted in that way. I think it should be conscious of a process of some kind, to go from at this point you're putting, people talk about passes, whatever that means. It's that you're going to go from, this is the first pass, and all that sort of thing. I have no idea what that's all about. So another reason why I wouldn't want to be teaching anybody, because it's like, I think you need to know about that stuff. I think people want to know about that stuff. Like I said before, I don't, but I can see why people would. I think this is the only reason why I like titanium, is because apart, it allows you to put, a very dense and opaque white on it. I think other than that, it's as far as making a tint of something, it always looks a bit too, like I'm doing it now, and it always looks a bit too creamy. You see it now, can't you? It loses the, and that's probably a technical thing. I'm probably doing something wrong. So again, another reason why I shouldn't be teaching anybody. But once it happens, if it happens, and I can sometimes pull it back. This here, for instance, this bit here is going to be darker in the eye and darker on there. The red's going to be improved, but I'll probably be able to pull it back with because it's pink there, so I can get that back again there better. But it's not 100% yet, but it's better. But yeah, and then this bit here. See, I think the next thing really is to bring up the. I'm using an even bigger brush. Back to the cheap decorators brushes, and see if I can get this to be darker. Touch of blue in it, I think that very much too much blue in it. Although I quite like the. You see this bit here, as I was putting that on there, I quite like that there as a the way it's working, and it comes down here quite dark and then around, and then there's the sort of extension of the sideburn thing there. Yeah, you see, looks a bit like one of those film posters because of the strength of the colours. Yeah, I'll do that. Take it up there, and then a bit more orange on this bit here, but very dark in that bit there. The thing about the scrappy marks as well, the scrappy effect that you get on the ones I was talking about earlier, it happens now because of the fact that the previous colours, the previous layer, if you like, hasn't dried. So you get a bit of a takeaway thing, so it's taking away some of the colour, and bit too thick this brush for doing that, but not bad. Not bad. I keep glancing at what you can see because it's like partly because it's slightly different what you can see colour-wise, but also it's a great way of standing back without standing back. So I'm kind of standing back and looking at it from afar without the need to get up, sort of get up and get out of the chair. So that's the advantage of that. I might have to be a bit more precise about things as well in a minute. So at the moment, it's just light shapes and coverage and things like that. So I'm not really bothered. And also, this is back to the, the thing with when I'm doing charcoal. If in these early stages, I'm able to make some marks that, all right, they'll be feeling around marks, but if I'm able to make marks that do something effectively, I probably don't need to worry about making them more refined because it's already doing it. I don't need the to put that much effort into it. Which is kind of like, sort of, I was often thinking about this zone and Soroya thing, and how I sometimes talk about the absorption of influences. I don't think you can know. It's different to being inspired, but I don't think you can know, because the way that you absorb information is completely subliminal. It's unconsciously happening to you. I think if you're the type that probably would go along, if you like, with prescribed approaches. Somebody that said, "Oh, Sergeant's the man," or Soroya's the man, or whatever. I think if you're the type that do that, then probably you would be conscious of your strokes and in line with one of them, those masters. You'd probably, I can understand that you would be someone that might do things because of that. But I think the other flip side to it is that if you're somebody that looks at art and looks at art properly, lets it move you and all that kind of thing, it's inevitable you're going to absorb something of that particular approach into what you do. You can't help it, because when you make the marks, regardless of how you make the marks, when you're making the marks, you're going to be assessing them in line with, we've done drawings in the classes, and they look sometimes, whether it's the choice of subject, or whether it's the pose, or whether it's the treatment that we've done. It's inevitable that sometimes we'll say it's got a touch of Sergeant about it, or a touch of Soroya about it, or whatever, and that you can't get around that. I think that's the good thing. I think that's a good thing about exposing yourself to as much as you can, because that's just going to colour and flavour the work that you do. All this sort of thing, and fixing that, and then sort of darkening that, and whatever. I think all of that needs to be done with a brush with a bit more control over it. So, like I say, a bit more control of the brush, I think. Let me try and find a better. I might have to resort to the using the this thing, number 16. So I'm going to, I've still got to bring this down. This has got to be almost blue, all this, and a little bit wider there. Looking at it, a little bit wider there, a little bit wider there. This, I'm looking at that there, and I'll bring some white into that, but a little bit darker down there and down there, and then there's the edge of his ear there and around. Yeah, I just sort that out there, which is ultramarine and burnt umber, leaning towards ultramarine, I think, because it's generally all the darks on this are blue, or predominantly dark blue. Not particularly soft, this brush, so it's going to take off as much as it puts on. The other thing as well is the I find that with brushes like this, the direction of the stroke is an issue because of the reflectiveness, so you get the definite ridges in the paint, and the light hits it in a certain way and it affects the way that you see the paint. That is a problem for me. I think if it was a softer brush, which I don't own one, so another reason why I don't paint that much, because I don't have much equipment, but I'm just gonna move the eye. Looking at that, that's going to come to there, right? But the eye is going to be about here. Just what I'm thinking is that you can see that comes down there. Then there's that. So the white of the eye is further across. That's all it is. Well, when I say white of the eye, I just mean this grey thing that's about there, and yeah, like that. It looked a bit too close there. Same with the eye as well. I'm just going to put a little bit more into it to make it more, not much, just going to put, that's one thing, that'll do fine, thank you very much. And then into the eye, that'll do, and then that's about it. The side of the cheek there is going to, here, and again, this is what I like about it. That's going to come in a bit there, but what I like about it is this. I'm just going to put a line there and let the viewer do the rest, and the same, that kind of like there, and then down there, and then, what I mean? There's no, the edges is gone. The edges have gone there, and just need to sort out that, bring that in a little bit there. Yeah, I'm still going to make this really dark down the side there. I know there's a lighter bit there, but I'm going to probably make it a little bit darker. Same here as well. But I can't use this brush because this is, as I say, this, even though it's supposed to be a proper paintbrush for students, I think it's probably a terrible brush for students. The cheap hardware store ones are better than this because of the way that this takes the paint off. As I said, takes the paint off more. It's got more of a point on it than the other ones, but it takes the paint off rather than putting it back on again, or rather putting any on. These are much softer, these DIY store ones. So I'm going to go purple with this. I'm just going to go into purple with this. Just taking it now. Again, this is I talk about the scrappy marks thing. This is what's happening now. It's it just feels like a watercolor. It feels that kind of feeling, and because you can see the sort of the marks and direction of the marks and all that. I quite like the way that it does that. All of that. It's not too finished, and sort of, for me, that's the thing I need to keep away from. I don't want to go anywhere near the hyper finished thing with little brushes. I'm just looking at that distance there, and that one there. I think it would help with if the top of his lip there was more defined, that bit there, because I'm just looking at that, where that is. then this bit here is more like down there. Yep. And then round. The same under the chin as well. There's a bit of problem with the colour, as you can see. I'm going to push that back. I'm going to push that right back. The ear. So I'm going to come back. I'm just looking at the distance between there, and it's kind of here. Yeah, straight away. Look, as soon as I put that in, you can see straight away. Yeah. So I'm going to bring that back and much better. We'll make the a bit big up that way as well. I can. I've actually got some. I think some smaller bushes that might be suitable. Again, these are all the DIY store brushes. They're not really anything fancy or expensive. Yeah. There's the pinkness there. It's I need to bring in that. Still on the same 4 colours. And titanium are not really wavered from that. Sometimes I'll drift towards cadmium red, or lemon yellow, but I'm not today. Not really. I don't think I did it on the other. Oh, I did put a bit of on the other one. There's a bit of I think there's a bit of lemon yellow in that hat. There might be. You can see there a bit of lemon yellow in that. There might be a touch of it in other places as well, but not really any, of any great consideration. Not really. I'm going to put this red into this. There's a tiny. This is nearly all. There's nearly all alizarin crimson and ultramarine in this, but it is dark down here. Yeah, as you can see, much better. I think I'm also delicately applying this, this kind of layer, and my directional marks are almost like blending marks, the cross hatching thing. Sometimes you can cross hatch when you're applying either charcoal or paint, and to even the thing out, and it kind of acts as a blender. It blends the thing more smoothly. I think that's probably a leftover from my illustrated days. I think that's, with the felt pens, the magic markers. Yeah. It's still not dark enough down here, but I'm not too worried about that. I think the thing to do is just to let it dry a little bit to take off the. So I'm not taking off the surface when I try and apply a different another colour or another layer. So I'll put the colour onto the collar there, just because it's just going to give me a bit more. I mean, it's actually orange at this end, so I'll cock that up straight away. But I'm just going to put this into here so that you can see the collar is. What am I looking at? This is red down this end, so I need it red there. Right. Yeah, and then it's kind of blue at this end. So there's a white bit there, and there's a white bit there, and then there's into the tie. And the tie's green, so not really the right thing. The eye, I think, needs to be. Looking at it now, needs to be a bit bigger because I think it's the eye and the way that is not going to be that. I'll work with that one. The way that he's sort of looking at you is all to do with this eye, and it's all coming off now because I should have let it dry a little bit, but I might let it dry a bit before I put any more on that. Like I said, because I work thin all the time, there's always going to be more terps on the paint, and it takes off the paint as I put it on. So as I said, it's a watercolorist habit. It's like oil painters from scratch will paint thick, and I'm not, and that's the last thing I do. So as I try with that, I'm just taking it off all the time. Oh, here we go. Better. Yep. Yeah. Just try and put that into there like that. So not really a definite edge. That when I just yep. I'm going to put something on the background. This the background of this here is I don't know whether that's just going to be I'm going to put some lemon yellow into this alizarin crimson, see whether or not that will sorry, not alizarin crimson, into the raw sienna with what I was looking for. So there's these splashes or whatever they are in the which is fortunate because that's exactly the way I paint. So it's like somebody just put some aerosol splashes in the background there. It's meant to be I think it's meant to be a pattern on a wallpaper, but like that. And then there's the shadow there. That's what I'm getting to. Or trying to get to this shadow here. I can't get too dark again because I've got too much thinners on it. But yeah. Angles and dangles now, I'm afraid. So there to there, just to get in that angle right there. Yeah. I'll take some of that out. Yeah. Okay. So you can see why it needs this. I'm going to have to put some more ultramarine and burnt umber into the hair with this. Will do it without taking it off. It definitely needs more ultramarine in it to get that to really dark. So I'm going to have to lift that off. I'm also going to move the thing slightly this way a bit, so there's a bit more. You can see there. So there is where the temple, if you like, ends there. So from there, then it needs to be. If I'm looking at distances, it needs to be more up there. That needs to be more. More there. But I think if I'm going to put some more ultramarine and burnt umber on it, and then hopefully get dark enough. Still, that's a lot of ultramarine. I use Dale Rowney paints, funnily enough, cheap paints, because. But yeah, I think you've got to stick to the same. You can't. I bought some Jackson's paints, nice paints, but you can't. I can't mix them. I can only use one or two. They won't mix with each other, which is weird. You think they would? It's oil paint, isn't it? And I'm sure it's a technical thing as to why they don't. And another reason why I wouldn't want to tell anybody, just in case it's just me doing it wrong. Right. Just at that point of I think it's that point now of slowing down and trying to and trying a bit more precise with things. I think this is not dark enough, even though it looks kind of dark what you're looking at. But this is not dark enough, and that has to go down in order to create a better feeling of the form of things. I think that's the one of the things. Not sure about that shadow being a bit too close to the head. I think it's probably not that close, but it's definitely got there's kind of a highlight down there on it. This here is a bit too strong. I don't want that's better than that one. I don't want it to be overpowering things. I think the benefit of that shadow on the back there is going to be, to lift the head, give it sort of a context thing. But it has to be, I think it has to have a definite edge to it. Yeah. Right. So, more doing next. I'm going to do. I'm just going to look at the angles of things. I think that one of the things that's quite. When I was talking about that. I don't know what night it was. We did a drawing of something. I was talking about the sort of the tiny marks, sort of the minuscule kind of just a speck or a something that a line or a dot or whatever that can transform the way that something looks. It can be the slightest thing. You see it mostly when people put a highlight on the end of a nose. It kind of gives the thing more implied structure, because the highlight implies that that's the highest point of the nose, and therefore it's some way it's got a form. And but that happens in a lot of things when you're drawing or painting. And there's often times when it's just something you can just put a tiny little mark, and it all of a sudden it looks right. It just sort of lifts the thing. I suppose it's like that finesse thing that people talk about, to finesse the thing, but it's not really. Sometimes it's not a deliberate thing. It can be just part of a sequence of marks that you've made. Because one of the things is that when you're in the proximity of other marks, when you're in the proximity of drawing a particular thing, you tend to work in that area, and marks get made in that area, and they're just a consequence. They're not really a deliberation. I'm going to put that there or whatever. They're not. It's not like that. At least it's not that for me. I'm probably peculiar, as I said before. It's the way I draw is probably not your preferred route for many. I think it's probably and some people will just sort of put it down to it's just talent and all that sort of thing, or skill or whatever. It's not. I don't think it's any of those things. But I think if anything, it's to do with being smart about things. I think there's probably more to that than talent or practice skill or things like that. I think when I was talking about the thing yesterday about I'm doing it wrong, it is really, it's not how you do it, it's why you do it. So how you think about your work is more important than how you do it, because how you do it is result of how you think about it. You know what I mean? It's one of those. I think it takes it beyond the production. That's the thing. So, because whilst it's about production, it's about production, and it's nothing else. And that's kind of where for me, I'm cadmium, a bit of cadmium red in there. I'm just trying to get a bit of density into that there. I think that's kind of where I differ, and why I don't concentrate too much on the mechanical side of things, the production side of things, because of the because I think it's about how I think about it more than how I do it. Like I said, I'm not. This is all of what you heard me ramble about now. Is the reason why I don't think I can teach people about painting, because as you can tell, I'm just painting it. I'm not really considering layers and all the rest of the stuff that I think you've got to consider with paint, with oil paint. And there are techniques within other mediums that, again, you're going to consider. So because I don't, it wouldn't be fair for me to tell people that this is the right way or this is how they should do it. Admittedly, there's nothing wrong with learning different ways. Somebody said the other day that they'd learned to paint the way I paint at college, which is weird because I can't imagine anybody painting like this. I mean, yeah, there are things about it, I suppose, but it was that, the guy, the fisherman guy, that he said that he'd learned to paint like that at college, which is, like I say, I'm flabbergasted that somebody would paint the way I paint at college. I think I paint like, with this kind of freestyle, with a bit like, say, a Sorolla or Zorn or Sargent might, but that's not to say that it's any good. That what I do, I have fully, embrace what they do and all that. I don't. It just happens, as I said earlier. It's a consequence of looking at their work for so long that it somehow becomes part of your way of doing things, even if it's just out of the assessment of its suitability, it worked or whatever. It may only be that, not down to the fact that I'm trying to mimic a style or whatever, which I never would. I'm not one of those kind of, I never see the value in doing master copies. Which is crazy, master, leave it alone, he's a master. You know what I mean? Oh yeah, everything that the master does is down to the fact that he has technique, nothing to do with the fact that he was a bloody genius. Or they were a genius, no, it's down to technique. You too can paint like Sargent, just do this, ABC. God, if the man were alive, he'd be insulted, wouldn't he? But as I said, I'm not your usual kind of painter or artist, if you want to use that word. But so it's, if someone thinks it's relevant to copy a master, then yeah, do it. Go for it. Nothing, I'm just saying I wouldn't do it. As interestingly, as I'm messing about with this and rectifying things and looking for edges and all the rest of it, things that happen is what I like. Unintentional things is what I like, and it's back to this. I mean, I do that with charcoal. I talk about that all the time, but I do like the unintended mark thing, and I think that is a I think that I'm looking for all the time. Round there, for instance, it's happening around there without any deliberation. There's things happening there that I like, and same with the mouse. And it's I mean, I can't help but think about that guy that commented on one of the paintings that said that I just scribble around until I find something that works. And I didn't know whether that was an insult or a compliment, but I know what they meant, and it is a bit like that, because of this thing about the the portrait is a conversation, and you just keep talking to them as you get to know them better. The better the portrait becomes, because you get to know them better. So I get that. You'd be, if you're having a conversation with this person, you would be asking more questions, and gradually getting to know them better, and gradually become more refined. It all makes sense, So perhaps they were not insulting me, but complimenting me. I don't know. Can't remember. I can't even remember how I took it. I might have been offended by it, I suppose. But yeah. I think one of the things that you're seeing now, because of the tonal balance thing, which is back to the charcoal stuff, you see how there is, well, you can really see, because this is not dark, you can see how there has to be this shape here, and the density and the colors and all the rest of it. That's what makes this work, and the connection to the shadow at the side. That's what makes this work. So it's important that and it's even down to this bit, this color of this bit not being right. It's, if I put the color in there now, admittedly it's supposed to be a green, but I might put a touch of blue into the it's this kind of dark green. It's very dark just here on this bit here, so I can get away with just burnt sienna and raw sienna and ultramarine into that bit there. It goes all the way down really, but straight away look at that, how that changes. And then it gets lighter down this bit here. So but it does kind of make that shape, lifts it already. And you can see how wrong these are as well. This has got to be not pink here, but it's got to be purple. Green on this bit here. And I probably have to use a bit of white on that, but unfortunately, kind of brush that's a bit bigger, but not too big. I think this is too big, but I'll put this on. I'll do it with this. Yeah, I'll get this to be green. Hold on a minute. Where are we? There we go. Oh, there. She's still coming out a bit pink there. And then up and round, and then I'm going to push the end of the shirt around a bit, so it's not so. Yeah. And push that around the end there. A bit thinner than that one. I don't have many brushes. These decorator brushes come in packs of 6, I think. All different sizes, but it's not exactly an extensive range of sizes either. So and that on the end there is a little bit darker on the end there as it sort of comes around there. Yeah, I can put a little dark mark across the top of it, or a dark line across the top of that. This is the shape I'm looking at now, this sort of shape there. So yeah, so now it's the angle thing that I was talking about earlier. That's that bit there that's going to just lift it a little bit. Just lift that a little bit. I'm looking at the alignment of this, and it's probably about there where it comes down and then down. Yeah, yeah. Sort that out there, that bit there, and then sort out the. Yeah, that's not so good, that transition there. I don't mind it so much if it's a bit, yeah, like that. There's a little bit of an edge there, but not much. And then up there, and then a bit of a white, and down like that. And down like that, and then get the. I think this is going to have to come dark on this bit, but I'm going to that bit there. Yeah, it's even darker than that. Let me get a different brush. All right. So this it varies in sizes from. I think that's the these are the sizes. That's the biggest in the pack. Right, that one there, which is super for perfect for backgrounds. And I'm tempted at times just to draw with one of these because it's so cool. Look at it. And then it goes through those kind of sizes to that one, and then those are the two. So there you go, there's 6 in a pack. And probably one. Well, it's not anywhere near one. The pack is nowhere near one. The cost of one rosemary and coal brush. I think that's the that's the comparison. Not anywhere close, I wouldn't think. To be fair, I've not actually looked, and they're probably not that expensive. But I've not actually looked at the price of a rosemary and coal brush shop. It's unfair in me to say that these are a lot cheaper. But I'm kind of guessing that they are. So tell me if I'm wrong. Bear in mind, I think these were about £10 for the 12. So I don't think a rosemary and coal brush is £10. I might be wrong. Yeah, you can see how the continuation of this shape here, how all that is working. I think the only thing that needs to be fixed is in the balance of things, is the density of things. The edges of say the hair on that bit there, and it needs to be a definite. You can see there straight away by just making it a definite solid there. How much better that is, yeah. Probably have to fix the size of that ear as well, I think, to which is not bad like that, but yeah, like I say, the density around this area is quite critical, and yeah. Now I've got to sort this out. This Godfather effect there. That's got to be sorted. You can see it looks like he's got a cotton wool in his cheeks. This just here, and it's just because it's too light. That's all. But not a problem to fix all that. Yeah, I still have problems with the balance of tones. I think that's the issue at the moment. I still have this. It's got to go even darker in places to. I think that's one of the problems with highlights and shadows. You tend to you identify the sort of this shadow shape here and the socket, and you think you've got it spot on and all the rest of it, but you get kind of wedded to them. You get wedded to the and changing them is it's a little difficult. You kind of look at those in a different way to the rest of it, you know, and in fact that's what's wrong with it, you know. So I sometimes with with eye sockets in particular, we always sort of go back to the shape, go back to the main shape of the socket, and work back from that, tonally and you know, physical shape of it as well. So, but that's better for knocking that shape back, that tone back. Yeah, it's not looking too dark than what you can see, but it's a lot better from what I'm seeing. Yeah. So that now that look how the ear like sticks out because it's too big for a start, but it's also it's not dark enough. So I'm going to go full on. It says full on, but not quite full on. Full on alizarin crimson and a bit of yeah, too much, and a bit of raw sienna. Yeah. Yeah. So just that it was jumping out too much, and it wasn't. And it was affecting the the overall balance of things. This is going to be a bit darker as well, even though it's a highlight, and I'm quite pleased with it. I'm just going to take it down a bit, and it's there. Wants to get a bit darker, right? Down like that. It's a little bit lighter underneath there, and definitely darker here and here, and then here. Yeah, much better. Much better. Yeah, yeah, different level. It's weird, isn't it? How halfway through something, it just doesn't feel right, and all of a sudden you do something, and well, it's come back. It's come back. Another reason why I like oils is that it's never wrong. Well, it's never wrong for long anyway. Which is what they say about the internet. It's never wrong for long. You just don't fix it. But yeah, I like the fact that you can fix things. And I don't know whether or not this is alla prima because it's I'm doing it all in one, or I'm doing it wet and wet, or however you describe alla prima. But when I see people do alla prima, that's the thing. Again, another reason why I won't know what to teach, because I have no idea what that is. But I can see what when they're doing it, it's thick and globby, and it's about the surface of the paint, the texture of the paint. It's all about those things. It's sculpting almost, as far as I can tell. So as I say, I'm not really sure that this is what people call alla prima. Tell me below if you know. If it's working, in one sitting, or whether it's wet in wet, or whether it's whatever it is, let me know. I could look it up. I know, I know I could look it up, but what I'm saying is that it seems a bit convoluted, and I can't be bothered to look it up. Sometimes I can't be bothered. If I think if I really wanted to know, I would know. It's one of those things. I don't really want to know. I just want to do this. I just want to do it. It's one of those things, it's like, if I knew what it was and it had to be done in a certain way, I'd be doing it. And I'm worried that it might spoil what I'm doing because I'm trying to do it alla prima, by the book. So I've got this terrible hang up about knowing stuff. If I know stuff, I'll do it that way. And it's a bit like when I was talking about the things of the day, the looking for references thing. And I've been looking at Sargent's, and then all of a sudden I'm looking for period references. I've got to be careful, really careful what I look at, because I end up doing it, or what I know. I'm dead against the what knowing stuff. People, it's the more you know, the better you paint thing that you can sometimes see people say, and I think that's a terrible thing to say. I think that the less you know, the better you paint. Somebody said that the other week. They said that it's easy to paint when you're ignorant and you don't know how to paint. I thought that's an arrogant thing to say for a start off by this individual, and then I thought that's a great way to describe how it should be. It's that dance like no one's looking kind of thing. It's that the less you know, the more you know, or the better it is. So this is now starting to shape up like it should be. I tell you, they take about, I'm on that stage where I can now bring in the sort of the accuracy, if you like, of this, and which is what I got to with that. And I say it was about 2 hours, maybe 2.5 hours, to get to a point where it suddenly became more accurate. And I think he's now getting to that point. All I've got to do is I've got to sort out the infection of this titanium thing here, and it's just a tonal thing. It has to come down to and be more more delicate. The edges, that it's too big for a start off down there, but it's at that stage now where I'm going to put marks. Every little mark that I put on now is going to make an awful lot of difference to the things that I'm going to touch. There is a lot of I talked about the roughness of the marks and how I liked it. There's a lot of that in it, in particular around this area, and part of that I think contributes to the way that it works. So, and it's what I'm attracted to anyway. I like that in Soroya's work. I like that in Zorn's work. There's an element of those sort of corrective searching line things. I like all that in their work. So inevitably I'm gonna be leaving it in mind even when it happens. I think it's a consequence of drawing. I just think that's the thing that as it starts to evolve is just a consequence of me drawing it, and probably why I like it. Probably why I like it, because it has that drawn feeling about it. Right. I'm going to leave it at that. As I said, it's probably going to be the main thing is that's killing it. Don't mind the one on his cheek, maybe a lot smaller, but that's at the moment it's just killing it. And the mouth needs a bit more pout, I think, than that. But apart from that, yeah, I think it's going in the right direction. I increase the density of the hair as well. I think that's probably one of the things. Drop the eyebrow a little bit on that side. So at the moment, I'm just scanning across it to look at the drawing of it. So I'm going to see things like that. It's not far off, but it wants to drop in a bit. That one's going up a little bit there. So all of this sort of thing. And then there's the tonal balance thing, which is not bad because of this. You know, the tonal balance on the side there's not bad. So, right, I will love you and leave you. As I said, I don't do many oils, so it's only because of the fact that the paints, I've got plenty of paint on the palette, and I found these canvases, but and they end up just standing at the side of where I sit. You know, there's all these sort of things, and they don't go anywhere. They you know, and there are quite a few of these. There's one there that I keep threatening to finish. You can see that, but I never got around to finishing it. Some that do get more finish, and but all of these, as I say, there's loads of them. There must be 50 there, but as I say, that's the reason why I don't do them, because I can't store 50 anywhere. They need to be, you know, with the charcoals. I'm going to put them in a folder. But not with these. And now I don't know how to put this now. So, right. So I will leave you, and as I say, I'll catch you the next time. Probably back to charcoals, I think, next time.